What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk to you about Rivian. I want to go over some of the data points, break it down on what is really moving it, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So Rivian is up 8.8%. Market does close in roughly 10 minutes. 12.03 the low, 13.30 the high. So we have a lot of blood in the market, a lot of fear about recessions, and as well auto tariffs. And as interesting of a scenario how this all played out, that does really benefit Rivian. Any company essentially producing in the States, such as Rivian, Tesla, Lucid, and a couple others, they're going to benefit. Of course, I think the news for the most part just portrays Tesla and only signals them out, but market is seeing Rivian as a good buy because of this. So yeah, it's kind of very interesting. And even beside the point though, prior to that, Rivian was gaining some pretty good momentum. So over the last 1 month, it is up 13.69%. So like I said, I think just Rivian was signaling that it wanted to go higher, and this recent news, even though it's negative for much of the greater market, a lot of automakers, it does benefit Rivian, and that's what's giving it a nice push higher. Shorts, though, they tend to not agree with that. So shorts are currently increasing 68,000 shares. 16.71% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 142.74 million shares overall are being shorted. So when it comes down to shorts, as you can see, they did increase first thing. They tried their best to really suppress it. At the peak, they were increasing roughly 1 million shares, but they largely just gave up and started to return. And that, for the most part, is how this kind of scenario did play out. So like I said, very interesting day. I think Rivian's pulling back as well as the broader market because of last minute fears associated to PCE. So that's coming out first thing tomorrow, and that one is going to be the huge kind of mover for the broader market. But aside from that, the only other thing that came out recently associated to Rivian is saying that they're doing a spin-off out of Micromobility. So kind of a good thing. I think Rivian has a lot of their subsidiaries and joint ventures that they've established over the last year and a half. So it's kind of a good thing, but at the same time, I myself don't really see this as being a crazy deal, but what do I know? If there is some aspects of this that you think is beneficial, let me know on potentially why this might be a good buying opportunity for Rivian, or through Rivian, I guess, because it does state that they're going to be still maintaining a majority stake. But at the end of the day, I see this as it is what it is. So yeah, let me know your general thoughts on that in the comments below. Moving over to options, you are seeing a lot of money getting into Rivian through options. 20 million in calls, 5.14 in puts. A lot of outliers right here. 49% of all the options being done today are optimistic in nature. And even if we look here, so going back over here for a second, so between 11:10 and 11:15 a.m. there was 2 million in total premiums. And if we orient this based on premiums, a lot of bullishness, and it looks as though different strike prices, but 11, 15, 17.50, all calls being purchased. So various expiry dates as well. So we have December 18th, 2026, June 20th, 2025, September 19th, 2025. So just take the time, maybe pause this video and go through line by line if that's necessary or whatever, but definitely goes to show that big money is betting on the upside. And normally when you see these types of things, there's like a multi-leg transaction. So there's some bullish, some bearish. This is very bullish. So yeah, interesting kind of stuff. Of the call options that are being purchased today, you see a consensus for it to be roughly around that $13.50 to $14 range for this week. And as well going into next week, for that to continue maybe around that $15 range. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub $12.50. So let me know your general thoughts on that in the comments below. As far as the Elliott Wave technical, so I haven't done a Rivian video in a while, but based on this, it does have a pivot point of $10.08. So prior to today's news and whatever else, it did actually portray Rivian to keep going higher to between that $12.30 and $12.95 range. So it's already surpassed that. So it is in breakout mode. So let me know your viewpoint on that. And actually, while I'm over here, there was a new rating that did come out yesterday. And that was from Jordan Levy with the firm Trieste and $14 price target. So pretty good stuff as a consensus of all the ratings. So 1409 is that price target, representing a 7.89% upside. Like I said, it's been a while since I've done a Rivian video. So aside from that, we have a $13, $18 price target, $6.10, 11. So analysts are still trying to determine on what the future of the economy is. Are consumers strong, buying power, all that fun jazz. So let me know your viewpoint on that. These are all the transactions though occurring on the secondary market above $100,000. A lot of big money is buying into Rivian. So they don't just see this as a one-day event. This is more of a longer term type of thing. So honestly, it can't get better than that ultimately. But with it right now at 1308, it is trading between this R1 and the pivot. So $12.54 is that strong support. So just watch for that going forward into the next couple of trading days. And then flip side, 1373 is going to be the next strong target. Wasn't touched today, but if PCE does come in a little bit better than anticipated, then assume that R1 will be touched. So yeah, just take note of that. And then above that is $14.47. Aside from all that fun jazz on the actual chart itself, so with it right now at 1307, you have these kind of points. So the $12.75, that is that 200-day moving average, 1230 is that 50-day moving average, and 1238 is that 100. So it is above all of those points. It also did break above that super trend. So you have algorithmic trading really benefiting and pushing Rivian higher. So the technicals are looking as though it wants to break out. And like I mentioned, it did have a nice good momentum leading up to today's date. So yeah, big things are coming. And maybe that's why, given all the uncertainty and crap in the market, you have big money focusing on Rivian, because this is pretty much the only optimistic chart out there right now. So yeah, got to give credit when credit is due. So let me know your thoughts on Rivian. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. Give yourself a shout out. Have you been buying? Have you been selling? What have you been doing with Rivian? And generally, what is your thoughts on, like I said, this spinoff? So maybe I just haven't done enough or sufficient research on this, but is there some aspect to this that is really beneficial, or are they just doing it for possibly liability purposes? So yeah, let me know your viewpoint on all that. But one final thing, if you are looking for kick-ass buy signals, pop over to my Patreon. I give buy signals on stocks, options, and crypto. Many of them have been absolutely on point and bangers. Definitely worth a while to pop over there and take a look. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.